Hello, my name is Dr. Mark Busson from 21st Century Pay Solutions Group. This executive summary video presentation is on salary structuring. For more detailed information, please attend our full-day training course with leading experts in the field. This in front of you is what a salary structure looks like. Some of the key things associated with the salary structure are grade, the salary itself, the slope, the range overlap, and the range itself. This short presentation talks you through some of the highlights. This is what a salary structure looks like in Excel. For example, you have lower quartiles, median, upper quartile, and 90th percentile, which is a range of pay for that particular grade as it's shown here. Sometimes it's by job, but the purpose of this training course is to show you how to do it by grade. If one graphs it, it looks like this, and typically there's an exponential jump. So some folk use logarithmic graph paper so that it comes out nice and straight. But what one's trying to get a feel for is whether there's some sense in the pay structure, and one's trying to get a feel for the midpoint differentials and make sure that the midpoint differentials are relatively smooth. Why do organizations have pay structures? Why do you need one? Well, typically when one starts an organization, one doesn't need one. It's small enough, the owner just appoints folk, and as they appoint them, the company grows. When the company grows to past, in our experience, 50 to 100 people, then people start questioning, why does so-and-so earn more than me? And that's the reason we need a pay structure. Some companies and some countries have employment equity acts, and there they ask, why do you pay certain categories of people certain amounts of money? And a salary structure goes a long way in explaining why you pay certain categories of staff what you do. The philosophy, of course, needs to be equity within the organization and external equity, which is equity outside the organization. Equity within the organization, in our experience, is a lot more important initially than equity outside the organization, because people get more upset if someone inside is earning much more than they do for doing exactly the same job. What influences a salary structure? There are many things. Affordability is a big one. Can you afford to pay what the market's paying? Job family is another one. Some job families earn a bit more than others. Your business strategy, your company philosophy, your remuneration philosophy, and a whole host of things. Trade unions also have a bearing on it, as do remuneration committees. So it's not just one thing or the other that leads to a good salary structure. One has to bear all of it in mind. When detailing a salary structure, we need to decide at what level we're going to pitch the salary structure at. Some companies only use basic pay. Basic pay is the bottom level over here. If you take cash and non-cash benefits, we call that total guaranteed package. And because most organizations in Southern Africa have moved to total package, that's by far the most commonly used method of reflecting and showing your salary structures. If one adds in short-term incentives or bonuses, commissions, things like that, then we call that total remuneration or the total cost of employment. Add in long-term incentives, and we refer to that as total earnings or total cost to company. So please be sure that you are clear on which level you are designing your salary structure for, and typically the higher up in the organization you go, the more cognizant we need to be of the variable pay, the short-term and the long-term incentives. How do we get this data? Most professional remuneration consultants run salary surveys, and one can get what the market's paying for the salary surveys. That information gets used to produce the salary structure. Of course, you can also ask a consultant to help you get specific information, and we call that bespoke surveys or niche surveys. Sometimes they're called club surveys. So what are some of the technical design considerations? Let's start with the range. The range is typically 50%. That would be an international average, but of course near the bottom end it's about 20-30%, and near the top end it's up to 100%. If you are broad banded, in other words flatter structures, you can have anywhere between 100 and 300% pay ranges. The overlap is a bit less. It's normally 10 to 30% overlap. where the maximum of the lower grade is more than the minimum of the higher grade, and that's to create movement, seamless movement when one's being promoted. The slope is a very controversial subject, and some people refer to it as the Gini coefficient, the wage gap. We can give it whatever name you want, but in Southern Africa the average slope is 1 to 80, meaning if the lowest paid person earns 1,000, the highest paid person can earn 80,000. The remuneration data is presented in quartiles as shown on the second slide, where we have the salary structure, and the quartiles are a good way of excluding extremes and making sure that the data is not swayed one way or the other by extremes. The pay ranges can also differ by job family, it can also differ by category, it can differ by industry, and the purpose of this slide is just to share with you that there are differences when it comes to pay ranges. That means we can have different pay ranges for different subsets. That might also mean that your organization has a different pay scale depending on your strategy. The best way to get a good grip on this is to practice. So we suggest that you practice, practice, practice. If this is an example of a salary structure, please practice developing ranges, overlaps, and of course the slope of the median using the formulas. For more information, we look forward to seeing you on our course. Please contact Monica at the email shown there, or give us a ring on the number shown in front of you. Thank you very, very much, and good luck.